Good day, everyone. My name is John Alisa. You're welcome to another edition of Everything Real Estate. In this program, we discuss all you need to know about real estate in the different sectors of real estate, from property agency to property management to shortlet to hospitality to property development, and the list goes on. Today, in our show, I have with me someone who is a captain in the industry in his area of expertise. I have with me someone here to educate us, and I won't want to do the introduction. I would like you to do the introduction. You're welcome, sir. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Okay, thank you very much for having me on your platform. My name is Dr. Lucky Idemeto. I'm a hotel consultant. So basically, I'm the MD. I'm the CEO for Venmac Resources Limited, which is now Venmac Hospitality. We're a hotel management company, and what we do is that we manage hotels, we consult for hotels, we set up Airbnb apartments, we're into Airbnb management. We have about six different strategic business units, which starts from the sales and marketing aspect of hospitality, into management of hotels, apartment, into consultancy, into human resource management. Also, we are into software and hardware sales. So anything hospitality, basically, that's what we are into. Thank you.
Hospitality, yeah, thank you very much. So the hospitality industry is quite wide. It's quite wide.
Yes,
So
yes.
when people hear hospitality, they just think of hotel business. Is hospitality limited to hotel business? Can you really open the eyes of my viewers to what hospitality entails?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So hospitality is a broad term.
Okay.
Hotel industry is just one aspect of hospitality. We have the food and beverage as another, part of hospitality. We have the recreations and park. We have the aviation. We have the entertainment, right? So hospitality. When I'm talking about entertainment, I'm referring to parks, like playgrounds. Things like Disneyland, right?
Yes, like the National Park and Zoo
Exactly.
here in Abuja.
Exactly.
Park
So
and the likes.
the ranches, the resorts, those are all hospitality. But hotel as an industry, right, is just one, subset of the entire big group. So hotel industry is basically the lodging, right, and accommodation. That's just basically what is into. And of course, we also have the food and beverage embedded in the hotel. So it's quite different. When we say hospitality, we're talking about the entirety of everything, right? When we say hotel industry is one aspect, because hospitality as an industry is very, very wide, very, very robust. So, but we are focusing on the hotel aspect of this beautiful industry.
Okay.
Yes.
So beyond hotels, still in that sector, I wanted to shed light on a phenomenon that has really become more known since the post-COVID era, started in the COVID era, the what we call the Airbnb shortlet. Can we have your take on that matter?
Okay, yes. I always say that for what happened during 2020 was a blessing and also a curse in disguise. It had the positive side and it had the negative side. So something very, very remarkable happened during the COVID period, and which was that suddenly there was just an increase in the need for accommodation. So we started discovering that a lot of people have been working, in maybe Abuja as the capital city for Nigeria, Lagos, but most of these people never had homes. So because of the virus, it forced everybody to begin to look for accommodation. Everybody was scared. We thought the world was coming to an end. So what did this play out in the real estate market? We now saw people demanding for houses, to buy. So why a conventional or a traditional hotel? Because again, we have different types of hotels.
Okay.
Right? We have different types of hotels. So why the traditional hotel was seeing a decline in revenue? In fact, they were retrenching staff. Some of them shut down. But we now saw that, for the normal property market was actually increasing. So people were were willing to pay for 6 months to stay with their family in a shortlet. Because again, if you remember, the aviation sector, there was also some kind of restriction. You have to go through a screening process. So most people just say it's better I just stay with my family. So we now saw that an increase in people going into the shortlets. Now, talking about Airbnb is an OTA. What is an OTA? OTA is an online travel agency, right? So Airbnb is someone's business. I think the man is a Russian that owns Airbnb, just like we have booking.com, just like we have Expedia. Just that during the COVID period down to the post-COVID, their company gained popularity because we have a lot of people going into their website to look for accommodation, shortlets, rentals, and that just during the COVID, their business saw a kind of boom, right? So, and that term has come to stay. So most investors, they'll say, oh, I want to go into Airbnb. And, so we just laugh. Airbnb is just an OTA, right? It's not a business. Just like saying, I want to go into booking.com. I want to go into Expedia. So, but that is the concept. So what this has done is that hospitality has never remained the same. So we see a lot of people, gravitating towards having service apartments, shortlets, and then hosting those properties on Airbnb. Because again, the risk is minimal. The investment portfolio, it's also minimal. Unlike a hotel today, in our current, let me use Nigeria as a case study. For you to have built up to a 30-room hotel, we are looking at least something above 1.2, 1.3 billion. Given the cost of things now and inflation. But for and will I say the Airbnb apartment now, once you have an accommodation, it could be a 2-bedroom, it could be a 3-bedroom, maybe with 50 million, you can be able to, put out something very classy. With 100 million, much more, right? So basically, that's just what happened from the post-COVID era.
Thank you very much, Mr. Idemeto.
Yes, sir.
I've seen this sector seems to be very captivating, as you've said.
Yes.
So what does it take to start up? Somebody wants to start up. What does the person need? Can you list 2-3 steps of what the person needs to do? What are the factors the person needs to take into consideration?
Okay. There are 2 angles to look at it. You can look at it from the investor's point of view. You can look at it from the part of having it as a side business, right? You may not have the proceeds an investor has, but again, you want to take advantage of this opportunity. So the first thing I would say from the investor's angle is to have the capital, right? So now there are 2 ways you can go about it. If you can buy a property, right? You can buy a house, or if you already have a house, now that house can be remodeled for a commercial fit, right? Which can then be, furnished, and then the whole interior work before it can be listed. Now, if you're not an investor, you want to leverage on this. Now, all you need to do is to look for people that own homes, right? When we look at Abuja is becoming a real estate kind of state now, because you're having real estate experience is surge in the Federal Capital Territory. With of course, that is not with the effect of the new government, coming into place. So what people do is that if you go around the town, you see a lot of empty buildings, a lot of empty properties. Most of these properties have been put for sale 5 years ago, 7 years ago. Nobody's buying this property. So you could actually go into some kind of partnership with these construction companies whereby you can be able to allow them to give you those buildings, and then you're able to use them for service apartment, list them on Airbnb and any other OTA. So what is happening now is that they are providing the property. In fact, you can even give them a business model, they'll furnish it, and then you handle the management, right? But even before going into all of this, it's important that we understand how the business works. You must understand how the business works before going into it, because every business is specular. So this one is specular. And that's why in Venmac Resources Limited, we provide opportunities for training and coaching section for people that want to venture into the hospitality, because there's a business of hospitality. It's different from or there's a business of the hotel industry. There's a business embedded in it, which is not just about lodging and accommodation. So we provide opportunities to train investors in knowing, the right way to invest, because again, location plays a key role.
Okay, how important
Yes,
is that?
location is very important. Location is actually the A game,
Okay.
right? In as much as that is important, when you talk about Airbnb, I always say this is a game of pictures, right?
Okay.
I and you know that, for instance, we know that a place like Duse Buhari, it's far.
Yeah.
Right? The person coming from Netherlands doesn't know this fact. All the person knows is that, okay, the place is very lovely, right? I mean, there are other side attractions that are there. Because he loves the place, that's why he wants to, pay this OTA and then, make a reservation or a booking, as the case may be, right? So there are so many properties out there online. And what would give somebody a second look at your property is because it's well furnished, right? Again, for business travelers, location seems to be another aspect where they are looking at. You know why? Because most people, when they are coming into the city, they want to stay, around the location where they are having their business.
All right.
They want to stay close to the airports. They want to stay close to the central business, unit. So when people are, making a request, these are the things they're asking for. Is there proximity to airport? Is there proximity to central business district? Is there proximity to malls? So all these things define. So you may have, a good space, you have a mini estate, but your location would also define if you'll be able to attract certain kinds of guests. Also, in the pricing.
Okay.
If your apartment is located, for instance, in Kubwa, it can never be priced as the one that is located in Gwarimpa. The more closer you are to the city center, the more pricier you get.
Okay.
No matter how beautiful you decide to define your apartment in these locations, look at the by virtue of where you are located, it will restrict the kind of amount you put. So people going into this business, most times they do not pass through trainings that Venmac offers or mentorship. They just go in, they feel that, I've spent 50 million, 60 million, then it doesn't matter where I'm located, just put the rate at $200 a night. And they wonder, month after month, there are no returns. Clients are not coming, because you must understand that, again, hospitality is not fixed. Hospitality is seasonal. And we have the high season, we have the low season. There are peak periods in the business. So
what are these high seasons and low seasons?
Okay, high seasons could be seen as holiday seasons.
Okay.
Right? Let's take it from the highest down to the lowest. We can have the Christmas season. We have the Salah. Sometimes there could be a political function happening in town.
Like an inauguration.
Conferences, inauguration. Business retreats, investors meetings, summits that are happening in town. When you notice there is going to be an influx in town, right? What you do is that you can now regulate your prices. It means that there's going to be more demand for accommodation, especially if your accommodation is located on the central business district. Whatever price you put it at that level, you definitely get clients, because there's proximity to where they are going. So that plays a very, very important, the seasonality. And then there are times where there are low seasons.
Okay.
Right? Nothing is happening. For instance, January, people are going back to school, people are going back to the States, everything is just, coming up. At the end of the day, you have to break even. It's a business year. You must record profit. So at such season, you have to. That's why you now hear people going into, there's a 50% discount. If you book 10 days before time, you get this discount, one discount or the other, this and that. It's just for people to be able to break in, because these seasons are the low season. So as an investor, you must understand that. As a business person, as the year is starting, you begin to map out the calendars. What are the high seasons? What are the things that are happening in the city? And then you use this to determine your prices. Price is what we call rate parity. They are not fixed. So every day, every day you are adjusting your rates to fit the current demand that is happening within your locality.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's interesting. Yesterday, I was talking with a colleague about Shortlet, and she said, like, if Shortlet is as profitable as it is, why is everybody not going into it? One, and number two, why is it more profitable than the general rent house? You know, for instance, a Shortlet, a two-bedroom apartment, maybe can bring in a Guarimpa, may bring maybe a 2.5 million a year. But if it's run in Shortlet and done so well, it will go for about 7.5. You get about 7.5. So I would like to hear your perspective on why are so many people not going into Shortlet?
Okay. It's just information.
Okay.
Most people do not understand the will I call it the jackpots that we have in this hospitality industry. So I mean, for every business, I've come to discover that numbers actually play the game.
That's true.
And you also have people that are they want to stay with they can't take risks, because as a business person you should be able to take some kinds of risks, and that's why we have high risks, we have medium risks, and we have low risks, right? So there are certain kinds of risks that you need to take, because you can't be running business the same way you were running it 1999. This is 2024. We're in a new era. So there's a way that the populace, they think. There's a way that the business community think, right? So most people are not aware that this is what is happening. And that's why the place of information comes to play. Let me tell you something. It's estimated that by 2027, that hospitality industry will be grossing about $5.8 trillion. Yes, $5.8 trillion dollars. As at 2023, in Nigeria, hospitality recorded almost about $23 billion. Yes, as a whole. So you don't want to play with that. That is a lucrative.
That's almost with the current exchange rate. That's almost like the Nigerian budget.
That's almost like the Nigerian budget. Now, this is what tourism can, be able to give. Now, look at Dubai. Dubai understands that they are getting to that point where oil is not going to be the lingua franca anymore. And that's why they are investing so much in tourism. And he said that, in fact, that tourism is giving them more money than even what the oil is doing. So this is a business that if we are able to harness on it and fix some of the challenges, we'll be able to leverage so much from the industry. So I think lack of information and knowledge, and then there's fear. Right now, I mean, for someone that is just okay with the usual, that is not a risk taker, I'll say, it's better I'm getting my 1.5 million every month that is sure than, I mean, this one that I don't know what is going to happen. And that's why as an investor, you don't have to handle these things yourself. You need to give people that they are the masters of these things. They have the business idea. They know how to make these things happen. And that's where our company comes into play. Right? We manage so many apartments, so many Shortlets everywhere in Abuja, outside of Abuja, Lagos. We have partnership with companies in Dubai, in Tanzania, in India, right? All for the sake of making this business, very lucrative. So these are just the factors that people tend to run away from. If you look at it mathematically, why would I spend 12 months to earn $1,500? Meanwhile, I can get that money monthly.
Really?
Yes. Yes. So if let's say a rent is 1.5 million. If you divide that by 12, you actually see that, I mean, it's maybe just a little bit about $100 monthly. Meanwhile, that $100 could just be what someone is paying for a night.
That's true.
So as long as you maintain a 75% occupancy rate, you are good to go. You are good to go. I remember
like 22, 23
at least 23 days per month. You are occupied, right? So I remember a particular client that, I mean, this same thing you're speaking about, fear of the unknown. And we told him, we showed him, all our projections, analysis. This is what it will look like. And he just had that faith. And he gave us, initially, he was going to go with the same price that, I mean, what people will put a 2 bedroom at a particular location for about 2 million, 2.5. And we looked at it, maybe in a year, he's going to get about 12.5. And to him, I mean, that was something. But at the end of December, that particular client, we did about 24 million. Doubled that particular,
Even
what he was going to
beyond the projection.
Beyond the projection, what he was going to get as rent. So impressive. You see how lucrative it is. Because again, when you have a business that you can play with the rates, today you can say it's a $120. When you look at the demand, tomorrow you can say it's an $80, so that you don't just stay empty. And that time you can say, you know what, $50 for early bookers. So that to make sure that at every point in time you are breaking even.
That's true. Which for me is even an advantage of Shortlet over hotels.
Yes.
Because hotels have fixed rates. Hotels, they do not really have that ability to vary their prices. That's very impressive. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Okay, so as impressive as these industries, I mean, it's low risk. You have your property. Even if the business goes down, you still have your property
to sell.
You still have everything in there, right? But what are some of the risks? Because no business is totally risk-free. What are some of the risks in the sector?
Well, just like like you've said, I mean, there's no business that doesn't have risks. Business itself is risks,
yes,
right? But you should be able to calculate your risks and put it side by side with your investment. Some of the risks, I would say, in current times would have to do with security.
Okay.
So when you say again that you are putting out your apartment for Airbnb, for instance, I could just have a unit of 2-bedroom flat, right, in a block of flats. And like what we normally see, we see a lot of clients. So what we do is that we meet most of these clients that they want to relocate out of Nigeria, and we always advise them, don't sell your house except it's very necessary. So, for such kinds of people, we take over the house and then we remodel it for use. Now, the risk in it is that certain times there are security issues.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we always pray that the right people comes our way.
Yeah.
But you could just list your property and a fraudster is the one that, made bookings and reservation. And you never know, because of course you must give the person the privacy. And one thing about the Airbnb business is that it gives you total independence. That's from the point of the guests. You cannot, it's not like a hotel where you have on a constant basis you are having that communication with the guests. No, for a service apartment there are certain times that there are even policies that are self-checking. You don't even get to see the guests.
That's true.
Once they make payments, they have a place where they pick their key, they check in, they onboard themselves, and when it's time to check out, they drop the keys and they go. So the risk is that certain times when it's within block of flats, other tenants are kind of like scared. Every day they are coming, they are seeing like there are different people that, because again, we need to consider the risks, factors that, is plaguing our country as Nigeria as a whole. So that is one of the risks that is there. The second risk is that you also have challenges of people destroying your property, right? Because again, someone can tell you that, I mean, checkout time, the traditional checkout time is not is about 12 noon. Shouldn't be more than 12 noon. And then check-in policies sometimes as 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., 3 p.m., depending on what policy you want to adopt. Someone can tell you that he's checking in around 12 noon. Meanwhile, by 8 a.m., he has left. And if it's a block of flats, you can't say you want to build an office space just because of your one unit of Airbnb that is there. So there are times where people will tell story that, the person checked out, spoiled his light, spoiled his TV. Sometimes even theft has also been a challenge, of those kinds of things. So basically, the threat there is usually security, theft, and basically that's it. Security and theft. You always have that. And then, lastly, again, it's possible that, I mean, you've listed your property, but again, there's regulation.
Okay.
Maybe you are in an estate. There are regulations that also
Restrict the
restrict,
people who can come
and
in.
they'll say, oh, that we don't allow this, it's against our policy. Or if we allow this, they'll make you to pay some kind of high caution deposit or some kinds of things that the estate will come up with. So that is also there. And my advice is that for every place, if you're not going to build right your own land, if you are going to be buying a block of flats, you need to find out what policy works in the estate. If not, you would have invested, furnished, and then the estate will say, oh, sorry, we don't allow this.
It's not permissible.
Yes.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Idemeto. You've really spoken to us so much about Shortlet. I mean, I've learned personally so much that beyond it being a profitable business,
yes,
there is the need for knowledge. One of my mentors in real estate, Dr. Stephen Akintel, says, and the first rule of investment is that before you invest money in a business, invest first in the knowledge of the business.
Yes.
And that is what you have given to us, our viewers. So thank you so very much for that. Before we leave, we just wanted to give us a call to action. Someone has some money. What will you tell him or her to do? Give us a call to action to Shortlet.
Okay, so you have your, as an investor, you have funds. And the first thing I would say is that what we normally do is that we have a free consultation with our investors, and then we take them through the investment portfolio, how it's going to look like. And then we now take it up from there. We help the client to be able to search for a good location. Sometimes they will want to buy. Sometimes it's possible that the client already has a land. So we're now telling him how to build what and what. Because again, for Shortlets, there is not just every. That's why I spoke about knowledge. Information is key. You know, someone has a 5-bedroom duplex and he's relocating, and he say, okay, come and take and use for Airbnb. And then after like 6 months, he's not really getting his returns, and he's feeling like, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing. So the truth of the matter is that when we studied this business, I mean, we found out that most business travelers, most people, even for leisure or for pleasure, they prefer a 2-bedroom. And I always say it's better to have a 2-bedroom, because someone that wants a 1-bedroom, you could always lock one of the doors and then you have the other one. But when you talk about something that is more than 3 or 4, is seasonal. So let's say maybe it's a wedding. A wedding, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they have checked out just 2 or 3 nights. Or maybe it's a family staycation or vacation, which is usually towards the end of the year. Maybe it's a retreat, or maybe it's a birthday. So those are once in a while. But if you allow us to be able to remodel your house together with your architect, we can be able to, that 5-bedroom, we can be able to, as long as it's within the confinements of we making some structural changes, we can be able to position it for you to have 2 units of 2-bedroom and then 1 unit of 1-bedroom or a studio apartment where there are several entrances, and you can have 3 different guests
within the same.
Stay in the same place without interfacing with each other. So because it's very difficult to sell a 5-bedroom. I mean, if I'm traveling to Lagos for a meeting for 3 days, why do I need a 5-bedroom? I mean, I could say, okay, if there's no 1-bedroom, maybe I could stay in a 2-bedroom, but anything beyond that is actually not worth it, at the end of the day. So we provide this stage by stage consultation, and until when they were able to buy, sometimes build, and then we now have to furnish. I have to talk a little bit about the furnishing. Now, furnishing for individual stay is different from furnishing for commercial stay. Airbnb as a business, right? They have the way the apartment looks like. There are certain things that you would think that, oh, these things is not important, but because you want to list on Airbnb as a platform, you have to consider those things. You have to put those things, like your bathrooms are key areas where you need to give attention to. But I mean, there are certain things you say, okay, just use whatever tiles, but no, you cannot do that. And that's why most times we want to handle your furnishing for you. We're going to give you a 3D look at, how it's going to look like after the end of the, job. And most times, to get what is good and attractive. Again, I said it's a game of pictures.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
someone to slide and then stop on yours and then have a second click, it means that the person has seen something that was a wow factor.
That's true.
Because there are thousands of properties that are listed,
That's true.
right, on these
Different
OTAs.
sites,
Booking.com,
yeah.
for instance, have millions of properties listed just in Nigeria alone
Wow.
on their platform. So for someone to have a second look, what are the odds that you would have a second look?
That's your property.
So
That's
there's a way we even position the pictures. There's some kind of pictures we put. There's a way we engage, and we don't just stop at that. We optimize. So
Okay.
you can say, no, don't worry. I know how to use Booking.com. Your apartment is very fine. You list, but you find out that you will not really get, guess. You feel that, oh, this place, they deceive me.
No.
There's another world of managing, service apartment, which is what we call the OTA, right? The Booking.com and the Expedia. Is important that you understand the knowledge of what it's happening, because these are places where you can list your property.
Yeah.
And I always say that for the budget the Booking.com would put on their marketing for 1 month is more than what your Eco Hotel does in a year.
Wow.
So you don't want to play with such kinds of companies, right? One of the issues, again, talking about the challenges of this business, is what we are experiencing today. Because these companies are foreign companies, and a whole lot of issues with the CBN, money coming in from outside the country,
Yeah.
that has also affected this business, right? Because certain times people, international guests want to pay with their credit card.
Yeah.
They want to pay directly to the company, which they will now pay you back. But you find out that there's most of these OTAs, Nigeria has been taken off of their platform
That's true.
due to a lot of issues. So it makes it very, very difficult for you to receive payment from these OTAs. You have to go through some layers of fintech apps, and at each of these layers they are taking out commissions.
Sure.
So before what gets to you is already lower than that. So I mean, we are hoping that the government would be able to look into this. For instance, a big company like PayPal would yank off Nigeria, that is the biggest black nation in the world.
Yeah.
And you see that in Nigeria is only send only. So we have other apps that you see there are restrictions, there are firewalls, which doesn't just make the business to be very interesting. But we are trusting that the government, the new administration, is going to do something about that. Our CBN, they are working to make sure that these things are easier for people that, people like us that are passionate about this industry and we want to build wealth, help investors to be able to have their returns on investment in a short time. Yes.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Idemeto. So much has been said in today's broadcast on everything real estate. He has opened our eyes to the hospitality industry. We've come to know that the hospitality industry is beyond just hotel. It involves Shortlet, it involves restaurants and the likes. And he has also made us know that for every sector you want to play in, there's the need for expertise, there's the need for knowledge. He has also made us to know the possibilities, the benefits, as well as the risk. Mr. Idemeto is the CEO of Venmac Global, and this is what they do. So anytime you need him, you can reach out to him or put his number on the screen for you to reach out to him, his number and the contact details of Venmac Global. They are located in Abuja, Lagos, and in other parts of the world, and you're sure to have top-notch services. Thank you for joining us in today's broadcast on Everything Real Estate. I remain John Olisa. This is John telling you bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.